Hi, Goblin here with a Pokémon redesign video. Now, I love Pokémon. It's one of my hyperfixations, so yeah, I love it. But I don't think all the designs are great. So I'm taking Pokémon designs that I dislike, design-wise, and redesigning them to how I would have made them if I was in the design room at the time. A few things to keep in mind is I'm changing the designs for reasons I dislike them. And some will be more drastic, some will be more simple, some will just have tiny tweaks and changes to them. But overall, the concept of the Pokemon will still be the same. Clink Clank will still be gears, and Seal will, well, still be a seal. So, now, without further ado, let's get on to the video. Starting off, this might be a little controversial, but Ice Cube. Now, Ice Cube has a cool concept, pun fully intended, but I always feel like it's just a penguin, like, with no exaggerated features. It's just normal penguin colours, and I don't really feel like that tiny bit of blue on its stomach does enough of a drastic change to the whole penguin formula. And Pokemon has already done and executed a very good penguin design in the past, like in Polion, which I think they should have referenced a bit more to make Ice Cube a bit more unique, as it just kind of feels like Dex filler in its own region. So, firstly, I incorporated more yellow into its design, as the yellow feet just felt out of place to me, so I added a tie or feathers to look a little bit like a tie, as penguins are often associated with butlers or suits. Speaking of, I made the pattern look more like a waistcoat to give it a more unique silhouette, and gave it a thicker neck to look like a shirt collar and snowballs, as to me its neck always felt like its neck always felt far too thin to me, and as though the head was about to fall off. I also changed up both of the faces on the ice face form and the novice face form that match a bit more, and with the novice form I added some light blue markings under the eye to resemble tears, and spirally eyes to resemble that of cartoons being punched. Next up is Grump Pig. I hate Grump Pig. Its body is just out of proportion, it doesn't really look like a pig at all, and it doesn't even expand on any concept Spoink gave it. It really does just feel like filler Dex. It feels like it was a last thought put into it. I mean, just look at it. Why it look like that? So, for starters, I wanted to make it this piggy round. So, I referenced a potbelly pig, which are huge. Like, look at this boy. And with the fat often covering the eyes of the potbelly pig, I closed the eyes of my Grump Pig redesign, both to reference the psychic type, so its third eye is opening, as well as giving it some super chubby cheeks just to round out its face a bit more. I also wanted to make it look like it was sitting on one of those fancy springed chairs, because it evolved now, so it doesn't have to keep bouncing on its tail to keep itself alive like Spoink does. Poor Spoink. I also went with a slightly more dark colour scheme for most of the body to resemble more of the potbelly pig, as they are all black, and the floppy ears to go with a Landrence pig, and the faint pattern to resemble a Hampshire pig. Overall, I think this design is much better than its original, but what do you think? Next up, I'm sure this will be on nobody's favourite list, but Sunflora. Now, I actually like Sunflora. It's got a goofy look to it, and beyond it being actually quite boring and weirdly shaped, I don't hate it. But it doesn't make a lot of sense to me for a sunflower Pokemon to be this short, as most sunflowers grow quite tall, and it's the first thing you think of when you think of a sunflower. So, for my design, I wanted to make it much taller, much lankier, and added a tail to balance it out so it didn't look like it would fall over. I also made the end of the tail resemble Sunkern's sprout coming out of its head, which I thought added a nice resemblance to the evolution line. I switched up a few of the colours because its yellow colour was kind of gross before, giving its yellow and orange more pastel and mixing the green on the body so it wasn't just a solid flat green, and helps to separate the body more. And I gave it some big rosy cheeks as it's smiling all the time, giving the overall design a kind of clown and Chester theme, completely by accident, so I kind of went into it. I expanded the eye slits to give it some makeup, and added some frills around its neck to make it kind of resemble more of that clown slash jester, which I think gives it this just extra little pizzazz. Now next up is a twofer. We've got Seal and Dugong. Now, these two definitely are Gen 1, you know, very boring designs and not much change between them evolutionary wise. Just being, well, boring and forgettable. I mean, have you seen when people have to speedrun all the Pokemon names? They never remember these two first. But I do think they are rather cute. They just need work. So, for Seal, I made it look more like, well, a baby seal. Super fluffy, chubby cheeks. I kept with the big old teeth because, it's cute. But I messed around with the colours a little bit, giving the white fur a tiny tint of blue, which I like much better than its original kind of cream. There's really not much to say about Seal's redesign, as it's still quite simple, but I think it's a nice change. But Dugong, however, has much more changes from its original. The horn is much bigger to resemble a narwhal's horn, as well as making it look like an ice crystal. I also made it mostly greyish blues, as seals lose their fluffiness as they get older, though I did keep a bit of the fluff to split up the body, and also gave it a simplified leopard seal pattern to help distinguish the body bits. I also gave it some long curly whiskers to fill out the face. I do feel like my redesign does still stand out from its other two Seal Pokemon counterparts, Spheal and Popplio's lines. Finally up is Synotic. It's just a strange looking Pokemon, innit? Its face is just creepy, its legs are way too short, and it definitely doesn't help because it looks like it's wearing a nappy. Ooh. I also dislike the placement of the mushroom cap. It's too high. It looks like it would fall off with just a strong gust of wind, making it look very unbalanced. And its face, it's creepy. So, firstly for my design, I lowered the cap to balance out its head a bit better, as well as gave it some dangling spores to represent both fairy lights and a baby mobile, which feeds into the concept of this Pokemon putting other Pokemon to sleep. Also, I made the body a bit longer and gave it some more digigrade legs, giving off Pan, the god of nature's vibes, who had goat legs, which also keeps with the theming of this Pokemon being a healer. It also looks more balanced and not like it's about to topple over. I also changed up the face, giving it a bit more of an oh whoa face, which softens its whole look and makes it look a lot friendlier in my opinion. And I rounded its face a bit more to give it a cute look, and gave it some long alien fingers to still keep the slight creepiness of this Pokemon. So, what do you think of these Pokemon redesigns? Are they good? Are they bad? Are they just meh? I'd love to see your opinions down in the comments below. Or, what Pokemon would you like to see redesigned next? I'm personally thinking maybe Ambipom or even Cinderace. But, comment down below, I'd love to see your opinions. Thanks for watching the video. Please don't forget to like, comment and subscribe for more. And if you want to support me further, head over to my Ko-fi, where I'm planning on posting exclusive content like bases, colouring pages and much more. So please check it out. And have a awesome day, everyone. Bye bye.